Live from the Mainstream Cannabis Media Empire, I'm Travis Lippert, CEO of Veedverks Unlimited Limited, better known as Veedverks.
I'm Michael Miller, International Marketing Director for PanaceaLife.com.
And I am Scott Jordan, Managing Director of Vertical Company, Financial Services.
We usually don't allow that
Oh,
until we intro him. Really? We got to start all over. No, we're joking. Goodness gracious. Glad to have you aboard, Scott, on the show today.
Nice to be here. Thank you very much.
So you've been called the marijuana money man by Fox TV and the Denver Post.
Wow, nice.
The marijuana money man.
Do you get a trophy for that?
No trophy, but a pat on the back and the sound clip that I can use.
Okay.
Which sometimes is even better.
Yeah.
You know,
those are really prestigious awards.
Marijuana Money Man Awards.
Yeah. And for the Denver Post. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm always afraid to be in the Denver Post like it's, a mugshot.
Did you see that article in the Denver Post about how there was something in it about the headline was like, not that it'll help you be productive, but something about using cannabis at work.
No.
And they just got flamed. I didn't do a good job of explaining that. I'm going to pull that up sometime.
Well, I definitely know a lot of people who excel smoking in the morning or throughout the day. I mean, really
that's
excel.
what we all said.
Yeah.
It's like,
personally, I don't, only because I just,
I do.
I
quit taking 7 pills when I moved to Colorado.
No, I did too.
Dr. Regina Nelson would say that all cannabis use is medical.
Yeah.
And I definitely agree with that, but it helps me keep myself straight. And
for me, I just want to go goof and have a good time, and but that's why I leave it for the evenings and from morning to night throughout the whole weekend.
Yeah. So we'll talk about it later, but I'll just mention right now that Kansas is going to try to, instead of grow hemp for like a pilot program, grow it industrially. Julie, will you
I think that's fantastic.
Turn that thermostat off. We have a bearing going out and a heater up there.
Yeah, I think I hear that.
So hopefully the next door neighbors will start their air compressor here. But
that's the deal with doing live shows.
I know. But anyway, stuff's going on in Kansas that I'm interested in and I'm also interested in like how big is this industry going to be this year? And just from knowing you and the types of deals that are actually being done.
Right.
I want to try and calculate out like how much hemp we're talking about. How much hemp are people going to need this year?
If I just had to guesstimate, honestly, with all of the new CBD companies that are also manufacture their own raw goods, and the super labs that are out there and the ones that are being built, I would guesstimate somewhere around 100 million pounds.
100 million pounds. How many pounds can you get off an acre?
That just varies what strain, what have you,
It's square miles. It's big square miles worth of hemp just for this year.
Right.
It's a lot of. So hopefully Kansas did this in time to. They're going to write a plan and submit it to the USDA and grow it industrially instead of part of this pilot program. What that's going to look like, I don't know, but it just seems like, man, if. Like when Patty was on here, she was saying that she was basically growing a quarter of a circle of irrigated land. But I just know because of the Kansas regs that they have another quarter of a circle that they could grow hemp on.
Right.
And I don't know, I'm interested in that. But first, let's talk I'm also interested in how you raise money to start a cannabis business.
Right.
How you get financed for that. So you started in 2014?
I did. Actually, I did my first loan in 2009.
2009.
Back
in this industry.
In the industry,
Nice.
yep. It was for a dispensary, $25,000 loan.
Yeah.
Had to collect the payments weekly in cash because
I love it.
he lost his bank account.
Of course they all
bank
did.
accounts went up and down.
Yeah.
It was like a whack-a-mole kind of game there. Yeah.
It still happens. Not as bad though.
No, not as bad. I mean, at least you've got, some established players here that'll play in the industry.
Not TCF Bank, because TCF Bank sucks.
I remember back in the BioTrack days, this is going on 6-7 years ago. We used to get calls every day from our clients. Here's a new credit card number, because they just keep on getting shut down. Everyone's DBA in their company a few times.
Yeah.
There were a lot of locksmiths in Denver back in 7 years ago. There really was.
And a lot of safes with a lot of cash in them.
Well, I guess it's easy to DBA a locksmith. I don't know, but there seemed to be quite a few of them here back then.
T-shirt companies.
Yeah.
So you've raised $31 million now?
Correct. Lent out $31 million. So
Or lent out $31
the
million.
difference is when you talk about raise, I associate that with venture capital, where someone is investing in the company, keeping their fingers crossed, hoping that there's an exit event, and hoping that their investment is worth X plus whatever they've put into it, as opposed to lending money like a bank does, where you look for cash flow, you look for assets, and you make a small amount of money on each particular transaction that pays, that continues to pay. So I really work with companies that are more established and that are looking to expand, as opposed to startups.
Nice.
What would you call a startup?
Startup is someone that's really been in business, less than a year, and is either not generating revenue or is generating just a small amount of revenue but not making a profit yet. Okay. The difference is that lenders are looking for a business to be making a profit so that they can afford the new payment. If I lend you $1 million and your payment is $10,000 a month, you need to be making $15,000 a month or more in order to be able to make that payment.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Because the difference is that lenders don't make a lot of money per transaction. If a lender makes 5 or 6%, that's kind of on average. So if you figure that, if you're making a nickel per transaction, you need to be right 20 times in a row to take one hit on someone that doesn't pay and defaults.
Mm-hmm.
So our business, we're coming on, 420 is going to be our 4-year anniversary. When we started.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's huge in this industry.
Yeah, we started the team almost 5 years ago, and finally started the company on 420 of 15.
On that day, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
Great day.
You'll never
you have
forget.
the poster in there for the Cannabis Cup back in 2015.
Exactly. That was
a wild.
that was the
that
day.
was a wild show. I don't know
that
if you were here or
poster.
not.
Yeah,
it has the
was.
Air Force Academy on it. It's crazy because we're a veteran-owned company that we all know each other from the Air Force Academy.
Oh, really?
Class of '95. Not all of us, but that's.
Is that the class that Nick Easley was in?
Nick Easley? I don't know.
Nick's an Air Force guy from 3C.
Huh.
Yeah, they're a Denver company. They do a lot of consulting in the industry.
Nick Easley.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a guest you ought to have on the show. He's a very good speaker. Very bright guy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're not a startup. In that regard, we've been around for 4 years. We've had products in the market for like 3 years now. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We're not losing money. But it's always just tight. You spend as much as you've got, and we're always juggling.
Growing.
Yeah, and our growth has been a steady, just like that. But it's time. We see these people coming in who need, the types of numbers that you talk about are unfathomable to me. Like the amount of hemp, that trailer that got pulled over in Oklahoma, 18,000 pounds of hemp.
Right.
Like that. At our current, what we make, it would last us forever, I think, But there are companies like Panacea that are just burning.
Chew that up in 2 months easy.
Yeah. So for us to take that next turn, we can't just keep living hand to mouth and growing it steadily. We have to it's evident to me that if we don't do this,
Scale up.
if we don't scale up and do big things, then companies that are just already built to do big things.
Right.
Like I always talk about toothpaste.
Right.
I want to make toothpaste, CBD toothpaste. Somebody do that. The best person to do that is somebody who owns a toothpaste company right now. That would be beautiful. And I've done the math on that. That takes square miles of hemp. But if we don't do the big things now with the brand that we've established, then, I mean, we couldn't have much more than a year before anybody with a processed cheese factory would be the best company to make a CBD processed cheese, which...
Well, it all starts with that cedar clone in our industry, that's for sure. And, you know, when I said 100 million pounds, you know, even if it's 75 million, the bottom line is this. In a couple months, we're already seeing it right now, it's going to go dry. You know, and then people will be looking at the international biomass out there that's legally here in the United States. And that's something that we really need to stay away from. Not that it's not great hemp or whatever out of Colombia or, you know, Europe, what have you. But, you know, I like domestic grown hemp. I like keeping our farmers working and having them scale up and grow with the industry. You know, they're out there. A lot of people don't realize growing hemp's a bitch. You know, it's hard. It's a hell of a lot harder than growing corn and wheat and all that other stuff. You know, you've got a plant that you've got to watch the whole time and make sure there's, you know, no males and all this other stuff. And then the harvesting and then the shucking and the milling. There's a lot more than just having a big lawnmower going, you know, cutting down wheat. It's labor intensive, you know, and there's a lot into that. So, you know, I would love to be able to see where the United States grows as much hemp as we can use, you know, and maybe someday export our hemp out, you know, would be a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So for a business then that, as I've described ours, like what type of, what kind of options are available to us? Like a lot of people watching know about what size we are. We've been, you know, a lot of people who watch this own hemp businesses. You know about what size we are. You've probably been here before. Like for us,
tell me what size you are, because I'm not familiar. I haven't.
We have distribution in 99 stores in 19 states. We have 12 SKUs. We do about half of our business online and half of it in wholesale, you know, going out to retailers. And we are going to do a lot better job of online sales, I think, here pretty soon, because we should do a lot more than that. But
well, that and put yourself into the white labeling arena. You know, there's a lot of people that
we'll do it.
You know,
we're working on a couple of white labeling deals.
Because vape pens, you know, there's manufacturers out there, you know, maybe even a Panacea. I don't think it's in the horizon or anything, but it's a lot easier to go to a company like yours who's established and puts out some of the best products in the country that already does that. You know, you know, we like to manufacture, put it in our package, and out it goes. You know, so
we'll totally do that. Wouldn't have considered it 3 years ago. You know, people were asking us about that, and we were just like, no freaking way, you figure this out. You go source all the little doodads that you've got to get put together to make a vape cartridge.
And that includes China, which sometimes can be, you know, an issue.
It's a real pain in the butt. Because all of the vape cartridge stuff is made in one town in China called Shenzhen. And they're 14 hours ahead of us most of the year. And so you have to get on to, you know, just to source a cartridge or like our one thing that we're always going to source in China is our starter kit boxes because they're made by hand.
Those are really
you can't
nice.
Do that here.
Yeah, those are nice.
I made them. Like you have to vet these companies because there's tons and tons of brokers and they say that they manufacture something, but really you got to get them on Skype and make them give you a factory tour and make sure that there's no kids working in there and that people, you know, that it's a legit operation. So it, you know, putting all of that together and coming up with a finished product is, you know, time consuming. And
100%.
3 years ago, we just told people, no freaking way, you go figure it out. We got to jump on you big time. But now we'll white label stuff.
Sure.
And we're always.
This is a good move.
Yeah.
Gives you another avenue, revenue stream.
Yep. So, what kind of funding options then for?
It really depends on the revenue and comes down to the numbers, revenue, profitability, and the balance sheet. Can you share, what 2018?
We'll do that off air.
I'll do it off air.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had every year's been our best year.
Good.
And
That's a beautiful thing.
last year was, it was a decent year, but this year if we don't do like 6 times that business, then it's going to be kind of a disappointment. It'll feel like a failure.
This is
for
going to be
20.
a huge year, especially when they finally define the rules in terms of CBD and what products you're going to be able to use it in, and the FDA gets clear in terms of the manufacturing. You had Bob Esquino on here, I think a few weeks ago, and I've known Bob since the early days back in, he's one of the pioneers back in, 14. I met him, and he was telling me that he's had issues with shipping CBD over state lines.
Oh, he won't do it.
Yeah.
He will not do it.
He's not going to take a chance on
No.
He doesn't look good in orange.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He's protecting his marijuana licensing is what he's doing.
Well, that and he doesn't want to go to jail because it's illegal to
highly
ship it
likely a legitimate business will ever even go to court shipping CBD. You can get a slap on the wrist perhaps or what have you, but
Why?
What's that?
Why would you get a slap on the wrist? What prevents me
a slap
from
on the
shipping?
wrist? You put your products into a certain county and a state, and they decided the sheriff says no, not in my county, and they take all your stuff off the shelf.
Right.
That's a slap on the hand.
Yeah.
And it happens
It's an
all the
expensive
time.
slap too.
But
because
we're
you
not
lose all
even-
that revenue and all that product.
Like we don't have, like I said, we're in 19 states, but we don't have any stores in Indiana because it's just we're not ready for that yet. Indiana requires this QR code, and we've got all the code built up now so that
You can do that
we're getting
online.
ready-
QR code.
Yeah,
builder.
exactly. So, so we have all the stuff in place. We just don't have the label printer yet, and so we're trying to figure out if we should buy like this $500 label printer and print out little square stickers, or if we should spend like $5,000 on this printer that'll do labels and print the lot codes and the QR codes on it on the fly. Like,
See, that's the benefit of having financing available to you, because my guess is the $5,000 machine can do more than the $500 machine can do, will last you longer.
Absolutely.
But you're probably thinking, well, I can only spend what's in my checking account, instead of, hey, the monthly payment on a $5,000 machine might be $250 a month, for 2 years or some period of time. I'm just pulling a number out of the air. That way, plus Uncle Sam picks up his fair share, when you're able to deduct that and take your 179 deduction, and you get more efficiency, because what I'm seeing in the industry is so many people are getting in, and the large are getting larger. One of the companies within the Vertical family that you've probably been hearing about in the news is Vertical Wellness. We just raised $58 million in a Series A, the largest Series A investment in the industry to date. And our president, Smoke Wallen, has been in New York talking about going public because there's so much demand. When originally it was a $20 million raise that we had, and it got so heavily oversubscribed, he decided to increase it to $58 million.
Wow.
And so a lot of the large players are getting in. Obviously, we're seeing CVS and Walgreens getting in, selling CBD in the stores. I think when people discover it, just like when I first discovered CBD and the benefits of it, it's amazing. I mean, I use it now, for aches and pains, for, when I exercise. I use it on my lower back. I use it for cramping. I had a cramping incident in Las Vegas from walking the show in November, and I used it, and it was like magic. I mean, I couldn't believe, how quickly, easily, and, it's relatively inexpensive, to buy, and I just love it. And so I think more and more people, the stigma is off. Once you're getting the big box guys to sell it, more and more people will do it. And it's obviously a land grab as well. I think that you'll see, just like you've seen in the marijuana industry, the small guys are getting bought up by the larger guys. And I think that there'll even be, it'll accelerate the pace of consolidation, because you're going to be able to have the very large, CVS, Walgreens, all of the beverage manufacturers will come in who already are established, who don't have to go to the Canadian exchange and raise money. They'll go out and buy a lot of the small guys for their market share, for their expertise, perhaps for some of their intellectual property as well.
So we've been talking to the big box stores since August. We were at the NECDS trade show that was in Denver, National Association of Chain Drug Stores. And we had manufacturers, sales reps there representing us. And that started the conversation that has been going on with with Walgreens and CVS and all of these big drugstore chains since August. And we're at the point now where we have financing for raw materials, because if they place an order that is such an enormous amount, we can't grow into that. We have to have a whole ton of money show up, and then we need to spend it immediately on raw materials.
Right.
And then
and that's something my company has introduced in the last 6 months or so. Purchase order financing is what it's called. So you get an order for $1 million, and you've got to spend $500,000 to buy product, but you only need it for a short period of time, and you've got an offtake agreement with a major company. We can finance those for the 30 to 90 days that you need that.
So purchase order financing, that's a good thing. So we've got that lined up.
We do equipment financing. You asked what we do.
Yes.
We do working capital, financing. So if you need to hire more people or build out a facility, or that's really kind of where where I made my name in the industry when I started out back in 2014. I helped the largest marijuana search engine company get money in order to be able to build out and improve their software. And then I went to the largest chains here and helped them with build out, because they wanted to maintain their equity. Little did they know the sky high valuations that marijuana companies were going to get, because it's off the chain. I was reading a statistic from KPMG. The average public company is 134 times revenue. Many are not even making a profit. 134 times revenue.
That's scary.
It's just crazy.
Isn't that throwing good money after bad? In most cases,
it depends. Who's behind you and who's going to come in and buy you for a sky high valuation.
Right.
But the guys, the point that I'm trying to make is by maintaining your equity, by using debt to grow, you get to maintain all of that equity. And when someone comes by with a big checkbook, you're in a position to be able to take advantage of that and have a larger amount of equity available to be able to cash in at.
Yeah. We've done we've done a friends and family round, and we've held off on, like, every day that we can delay doing anything involving equity is in our favor.
Absolutely.
It's like you get more valuable every single day that you don't dilute.
Right.
And
that's the goal. That's why I got started in this business, because back in the day, back in 2014, nobody was talking about debt because it really wasn't available, only really from family and friends. And the marijuana entrepreneur was really working extremely hard under extremely difficult circumstances with a lot of pressure. And back then it was jail. It was not, we're going to put you out of business. It was many of the early owners, like, Andy Williams from Medicine Man, Bob Esquino, I think he talked about it as well. They were terrified of one day the DEA coming in and taking them to jail. I mean, there's nothing
Bob still
worse.
Is.
Yeah, he is. God love him, but he is.
I mean, losing your freedom is way worse than losing money or, almost anything else other than your life. And so, they took a real chance. And I saw the difficulty they were having just doing normal kind of banking. I mean, back then, before partners came along, there was no real, solid banking solutions. And thank goodness Sunday Seafried and her team came along and provided that, at least in Colorado and now in some other states, so that they could at least put their money into a safe place and be able to conduct normal business. And I saw them just working really, really hard with regulations that were changing weekly. I mean, you talk about packaging, I think Bob mentioned it also. It was crazy. They'd invest all this money into packaging, and then the MED would change, the rules and the regulations, and they'd have to throw all that packaging out. I mean, that's a heck of a way to run a business.
There's an example of when you need to have a whole bunch of money tied up that you don't necessarily have packaging. Like the minimum for our cartridge packaging, for the lotion box packaging, we were trying to get that sourced in Colorado, so I don't have to deal with China. And we got it all lined up. And the price, you can make something in America for the same price as you can get it done in China once you reach a certain quantity.
Sure.
And so when you're doing packaging buys, it's always like if you look at the top shelf up there, like we've got boxes that have been sitting up there for 9 months, but the products take so long to get here, like the starter kit boxes. You gotta buy that. So anyway, at a certain, if I could buy like 3 or 4 or 5 times as much packaging from Colorado, it could be the same price as you get it from China, and you wouldn't have to wait for a boat ride for it to get here.
Right.
So, but you have this packaging sitting on your shelf that $10,000 worth of just
boxes and cardboard
boxes, and that money is not, you can't use it for anything else until you eventually get rid of it. So that, do you do financing for that?
We do. We can help you with supply chain financing as well. Yeah.
Wow.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, what I've tried to do basically is replicate a bank in the products that I offer. So I offer lendings for working capital, equipment, real estate, and purchase order financing. Also factoring for CBD products. So if you have invoices, and Walgreens says, hey, we're not going to pay you for 60 days and you need the cash from that, we can look at selling that invoice. I also provide access to banking for those that are outside of Colorado, where it's much more difficult to get banking. I offer access to banking. I offer merchant processing, because that's also been an issue, and particularly recently with Elevon exiting the business. Getting a merchant processing service to be able to take credit cards over the phone and do e-commerce is important. And so with that, my goal is to help replicate banking services for marijuana business owners, on a virtual basis and on a best vendor basis.
So when you say marijuana, you also mean hemp, right?
And hemp, correct. Cannabis.
Okay. Yes.
Were you doing this before the industry? What were you doing before?
So my background is
to qualify.
In 2003, I got into residential mortgages. Okay. In 2005, one of the guys I was working with said, hey, are you interested in learning about commercial? And I said, sure, I'm always up for a challenge. And he said, you find the deals and I'll, teach you how to get them funded and we'll work together. And so it was a great partnership. And so I did commercial loans prior to then going to work for a company called Dynamic Funding, where I got my feet wet and focused in on the marijuana industry.
Okay. I love how a lot of us, including myself, what we did pre cannabis, we brought over.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, you go with what you know,
exactly.
and it's a niche. And it's a very exciting opportunity. Yeah. I mean, it reminds me a lot of the VoIP industry, voice over the internet protocol for those that don't like acronyms. In '98, I was with a company that did voice over the internet internationally, and very similar to this industry. It was a land grab where you're trying to get out there, get as many countries and cities within countries as we could. It was illegal in a lot of countries. Because you were taking money away from the government, because in China and a lot of the Asian countries, the government is the one that runs the telephone service and the mail service. And so I remember distinctly We had a gateway up back then. These gateways were little 24 port, basically routers. And what happened was one day our gateway was not working. We went to call up, couldn't get a hold of the guy, and we heard rumor that the police had come in and taken and confiscated him and taken him to jail. And it was a 10-year, prison sentence at hard labor. Yeah. It was
here in the U.S.
No, this was in this was in Indonesia. Oh, yeah, so
hard labor.
It was no joke.
No, it's not.
No joke.
Did he?
We never heard from him again.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, never heard from him again. So, yeah, I mean that's how the industry grew. I mean, look at this industry. Coming from the shadows of illegality to being legal in some states.
Absolutely.
But then having the issue with hemp transportation and getting stopped, and perhaps one plant out of the 18,000 pounds tests 0.035.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the drivers who were just doing their job
get arrested,
are going to jail.
Yeah.
So I think the guy spent 30 days in jail.
Yeah, they did.
In Oklahoma.
Get your stuff milled. Do not transport shucked, and make sure it's all milled to, I don't know what it is, 1 to 3 millimeters or something like that.
You need a homogeneous product.
Well, if not, you get pulled over. These cops aren't stupid. I don't care if there is 18,000 pounds. Believe me, they're going to be picking buds.
They're just shaking the trichomes off of them.
Picking buds, because the buds can be hot sometimes.
Yeah. Is it? I hope I'm not wrong. Is that a Lucid Mood?
Wow, you recognize it?
Logo on your lapel.
It is. It is.
Lucid Mood makes vape cartridges.
They do.
They. I don't know. Do they have CBD only cartridges now?
I think they just introduced that. Shout out to Charlie. How you doing?
Hey, Charlie.
There you go.
So they're. I have a lot of respect for that company. Have you been involved with them?
I like the pin because it's kind of it jazzes up a kind of a dull gray suit a little bit.
Yeah.
And makes it a little bit more fun. And then you get into interesting conversations. Most people don't recognize the branding on it. And so, they'll ask about it and you'll get into a little conversation. And I thought I would wear it today.
We need to get Veedverks lapel pins.
There you go.
Got it.
Yes. Get something cool.
Can we finance that through your company?
You can.
There
Absolutely.
you go. Already.
We'll get you a big working capital loan. How about that?
Can I finance making?
credit.
Can you finance marketing spends?
Of course. Yeah.
I'm trying
That's
to
how
put.
normal businesses do it. They have a working capital line. And all the expenses that are not capex or equipment, they use that in order to finance them.
I want to sponsor a race, a driver in a NASCAR race in late August, and there's no reason to not. I've been working on NASCAR again. We're trying to sponsor Bobby Dale Earnhardt at Darlington in the Xfinity race on August 31st, and everybody's on board. The car owner, Bobby, his business partner, we're all on board. We all got it worked out. Got the deal
Besides?
done. We're just waiting on NASCAR.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to get a little bit anxious.
Yeah.
But it would make perfect sense because it's Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s first race back since he retired from full-time racing.
Oh, he's coming back full-time?
He's just coming back for a race in Darlington on August 31st.
Nice.
And his cousin, Jeffrey Earnhardt, is a regular in that Xfinity series this year.
Right.
So you got 2 Earnhardts in one race. And so we're trying to put Bobby and have 3 Earnhardts in one race. Think about it, NASCAR. Think about the, 3.
Hear him out, NASCAR. Hear him out.
So, and it's a great deal. But thing is, like, we've got to, ideally to take advantage of it. Like, say they say yes, then the first thing what we're going to have to do is get Bobby a fire suit made with a big Veedverks logo on it.
That would look nice.
Because all of the promotional stuff that you ought to be doing, NASCAR, the 3 Earnhardts, leaning together and stuff. We want our logo. We need to get that done like before we're going to see any sort of sales resulting from that sponsorship. We need to.
Right.
So, do you do race suit loans, embroidery loans?
It all would fall into working capital. We'll get you a nice working capital loan. You can spend it as you need it. Just repay it on time.
Well, you'd be amazed at how far, a few $1,000 would go for most small businesses.
Sure.
Like just the ability to buy a machine, just a Hobart mixer.
Sure.
But
that, and putting your name out there amongst millions and millions of viewers, I'm sure a lot of TV coverage will be there because of the Earnhardts.
Definitely.
And who knows, what big executive will be there that will pick that up and say, we need to go ahead and look at buying these guys or investing in these guys. I mean, just like Altria, invested in Kronos.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a big slug of cash of, $1.8 billion, and, you're off to the races.
And Altria is one of NASCAR's major sponsors, which means...
Are they really?
Yes. One of the things that has transpired between May of 2017 when we were on Carl Long 66 at Kansas, and now is that Altria has entered the industry. Now they are a giant hemp, not just hemp, marijuana.
Right.
So everything that NASCAR said to us in 2017 about you're a hemp company, right? Dude, we're nothing compared to some of these big hemp companies that are, how about Scott's? They're way big in Hawthorne.
Yeah,
that's the Scott's.
The list keeps on going.
Coca-Cola. Yeah. I've read something I think that now finally credible about Coca-Cola actually working on a CBD infused beverage of some sort.
Sure.
Which why wouldn't you? If you own a Coke factory, put CBD in that stuff. Everybody's going to get into it. So it's time, NASCAR.
The only problem right now with I think liquids, I'm not sold on the nano technology out there, or as far as water soluble CBD, I haven't seen anything that I would want yet, out on the market. It usually clouds up the water or beverage. Yes. There's some taste, you've got it. They'll figure it out, that's for sure. And then they'll get to the point where they're adding specific terpenes into the Coca-Cola or whatever for this or that, enhance that mood or what have you, but
let's get Bob on that. Bob needs to go ahead. Bob, we're calling you out. Well, time to make a good CBD water.
Well, hopefully Panacea is on the way, with their chromatography machine coming in and stuff like that to start pulling out different terpenes.
I don't think you can make it not cloudy. I think you need to put it in a blue bottle.
Eventually, well, you shouldn't have any CBD in a clear bottle to begin with, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
For degradation and what have you.
Somebody needs to make amber-colored vape cartridges. Dude,
there you go. That's your $1 billion one.
That's my hemp idea. Somebody make an amber or a green colored vape cartridge, green Pyrex vape cartridge. That would be that would solve all sorts of problems that you have. Getting
back to NASCAR though, I used to be an avid follower. I mean, I just haven't been watching over the last couple of years, but I think not only do they need an influx of money, they're losing huge viewership ratings. It would be pretty cool seeing half the cars there. I don't care. Incredible's car, or Medicine Man going down the track.
Exactly what I told him.
I think it'll bring in another generation of viewers.
How about some hemp cars?
Yeah.
I mean,
hemp body panel.
Could we do hhemp cars?
Absolutely.
Bryn
have a hemp race amongst all the hempsters that are out there.
Yeah, Bryn Gone, he's a great guy to sponsor. Everybody ought to sponsor Bryn Gone. Sprint car.
Yeah, we had him on the show one time. Right?
Driver in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
He's having hemp body pieces made for his car.
Really?
It's pretty cool.
That is cool. I mean, there's so many great uses for hemp. It's really going to be exciting the next 3 to 5 years to see the evolution. And I think it's going to be as dramatic as it was with marijuana. I mean, I remember back in the day, where there was flour and edibles. And that was pretty much it. There was no concentrates. There was no vape pens. There was none of the extraction, none of the other products out there. Now you go into a dispensary, you got 150 different products, and a lot of different, this was even before, the whole dabbing craze got so popular.
A quick shout out, Andrew Pitskow. He's watching the show. He loves the sound. He wants the episode.
All right.
Nice.
Hey, Andrew, how are you?
You know him?
Purple Haze, right?
Yeah, that's my boy.
Yes.
That's my boy.
All right.
He's so cool. He's such a nice guy. And he's got his thing locked down, his company.
Yeah.
He really is. They're expanding a lot. Hopefully, in the near future, him and I are doing some deals. But hopefully that, he gets his lounge up. I know he really would like
in
one.
LA?
LA, or, I think it would really be fantastic in Vegas. A smoke lounge and just top. It would be top notch. It'd be all freaking the best, And he's got the access to the talent to come in,
right.
Also
He
whether
does.
it's concerts, So he's really good. We'll get the episode to you. Purple Haze Radio. Go to it. Purple Haze Property. Like both Facebook and all the social media there. Sorry.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, why are you sorry about that?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
What about say we want to launch some new products, like you're talking about water soluble stuff.
Sure.
Gwethlin, would you mind bringing me those 8-dram vials on that desk?
These two?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we've been working on different ways
Water
to make stuff
soluble. See,
water
it's
soluble,
clouded.
right?
Yeah.
So that's clouded,
Right.
But that also is not even mixed up at all. And this was a total failure. But if you look in the bottom, it'll be water dispersible, and you can homogenize it. But it's a real. I don't see.
See, I don't want to drink that. I don't want a glass of that.
Yeah, but if it's in juice or something.
Yeah,
or
no. I'm just
Gatorade
saying,
or
as far as
something.
the color, that's
like color. That's probably how they came out with Gatorade Frost. They were like, "Oh shit, man, this stuff you can't see through it."
Yeah.
So you need to start calling it like Frost.
Now,
water.
what's that one?
Like this one.
Okay, that was water soluble over there.
Will you give me that green tape, please?
Sure, of course.
Just want to do one thing.
We'll take the.
Just a little bit of the secret sauce. So this is CBD and some other magic in water. So we got it to that point,
Right.
which that's not what CBD acts like in water. Trust me, if you haven't screwed with it, it's not crystallizing or anything. It's water dispersible, but it's definitely not clear. And I don't know how people are going to do it, but let's say that what if we just needed to throw another, like, say, 10 grand into this idea, we could have a water soluble tincture that. Do you do loans on R&D spend?
Again, it would come underneath working capital.
Capital.
We would, what we would do is we would approve you for an amount. You would get the money, and then you would decide whether you're going to use, that particular technology, those bottles. We don't want to make that decision, and that's one of the key differences between a lender and an investor. An investor might tell you, "Hey, I want you to use this bottle made by this manufacturer." And would have some say over what you do, whereas a lender just gives you the money and expects that you'll be able to repay it. So you get to make all the decisions, you get to keep control, you get to go ahead and drive the Veedverks, airship to exactly where you want to land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you need to get down the road when you hit it.
It's an airship. They're so expensive.
In Europe,
looked into
there's
it.
private individuals that own some. They're not, humongous like.
What about a drone? Because that would be cool. I mean, I think your background when you have that Veedverks ship is really, really cool. I mean, it's very distinctive. There was a guy back in 2010 that was doing one of those silver buses where he was going around to dispensaries and signing people up for cards. And they finally the MED came out and said, "Sorry, you can't do that." But he was driving and it was a very distinctive thing, and it was one of the first buses that you could actually consume it.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And he'd have a doctor that was going around. Yeah, there it is. There's the background.
So you could get an airship drone and put Veedverks and go to some of the other outdoor sports facilities and see if they can pipe into your camera on that to
There
go
you
live
go.
through their station.
We looked into,
and then you have Veedverks going around.
we looked into doing still in 2017, we tried to get a hot air balloon that was shaped
Yeah.
like a dirigible.
Right.
Which
To
they
fly over the final race of the season, season where they took us off the hood of Carl Long's car.
Oh, right.
And it was cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't even get a loan on something like that because I can't say that it would ever be worth it. I mean, it'd be worth it, but it wouldn't make it was really expensive.
Was it? Yeah.
You had to like rent the thing for like a month or something. It was several $100,000, which
Well, if you're going to take that around all 50 states,
Yeah.
is it one that you actually are piloting in?
yeah, I think
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Okay, no. Hot air balloon.
it was a hot air balloon that looked like a dirigible.
yeah.
But actual blimps or dirigibles in this case are.
What's the difference?
A blimp is it's an inflatable envelope. Like the
Right.
blimp is blown up with that lighter than air
Right.
gas. A dirigible has a rigid skeleton with a skin around it, and it's got bladders in it
Right.
that are each holding that lighter than air gas.
So it's safer. Or
I don't know. It definitely looks cooler. I think I like dirigibles.
Yeah.
It's
what does yours? How does it fly?
how does it fly?
Yeah, the one that we were sitting in. What's the altitude? No.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we modeled that in 3D. Cool. We haven't done a whole lot with it, but
There we go.
yeah, like our branding is all about the year 1937 when they passed the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937, and so that's the same. If you think about what was going on in 1937, they had gigantic airships that were
Yeah.
like bigger than anything I've ever seen in the sky, like huge
Yeah.
airships flying over New York and stuff. And that same year, 1937, the Hindenburg crashed. And it's also the same year that Amelia Earhart disappeared.
Yeah.
And that's, kind of what our lotion branding is tied into is
Right.
Amelia. But yeah, dirigibles are cool. And
Yes, they are.
It was a kind of a difficult sell to my partners, when I said, hey, we should build a giant green screen and then have broadcast where we're flying from an airship.
Yeah.
It took a lot of,
It's a lot less expensive doing it this way.
yeah, definitely.
Even though
And a lot safer, too.
Yeah, that is true.
It took some foresight. It took about like a year to actually get it from when we built the first wall to this.
You guys did a great job. Honestly,
Yeah.
you really did.
Yeah, I wish it was bigger now.
Yeah. Now your partners, do they love it?
Oh yeah.
The studio?
Why not?
Yeah. Why not?
It's cool. You can do anything.
Yeah.
You can do anything that you want.
Yeah.
And you can just educate people about
Yeah.
the industry. This has been a fascinating conversation to me because I've been asking you about things that affect me directly. Sure. Is there a too small of a company? Like, say a company is just like a super streamlined one person operation that's profitable. Like,
So we really look less at the number of people, but more at the revenue.
Yeah.
Because it takes the same effort to do a $25,000 loan than it does to do a
That makes sense.
$250,000 loan.
Right.
And there's so many people out there that need money. So we've elected to look at things above $250,000.
revenue?
250,000 in terms of a loan size.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And so again, depending on, the finances and how profitable you are, you generally need to be doing, $1.5 million to $2.5 million in revenue on the low end and be making a profit. So
Do you see money?
yes, all the time in my dreams, when I'm walking. Yes,
Do you
with
see
little interest coming
more
out
money
of it.
coming into the industry?
Absolutely. I mean, it's been just, it's been nuts. I mean, Scott Greiper from Viridian that keeps track of all the raises and all.
They do a good job.
They do a very good job.
They really do. If
Shout
you're
out
not
to
on their email list.
Yeah.
It's a good report to read.
Yeah, and now they're connected with Marijuana Business Daily, and they do a very good job. But in the fourth quarter of 2018, more money came in than combined in 2016, 2017, and the first 3 quarters of 2018.
What, was that the Farm Bill or no?
No, that was just people looking to get into the industry because
saying forget it.
It's
they're
become destigmatized.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is marijuana money,
Right.
Primarily. In the first quarter, they've equaled what they did last year in the entire year. In terms of raise, it's the Canadian public company phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's people are getting more comfortable. It's we're seeing really what I would call cannabis 2.0 on the marijuana side,
Right.
and hemp 1.0 because it's what's happening is that the people that got in because they love the plant or used to be in the gray or black market are now being bought out or eliminated because it's really become a game of production and getting your costs down. Because I mean, I remember back in 2014, you were getting $3,500 a pound, and that same pound is selling for $800 to $1,200, and costs haven't shrunk 300%. Right. So your margins are much thinner, and so you have got to produce much more efficiently.
Right.
And so as a result of that, and also it's become, I think, a lot. Many more states getting in. We've got 33 states now with some form of legal marijuana. Right. Obviously, the CBD craze is upon us, and companies are making major size acquisitions. Verano, $865 million, acquisition. I mean, these are big numbers.
Yeah, I think it's overinflated big time, though. I personally wouldn't buy a marijuana stock out there because I think the money was too rich.
Right.
I think,
But
over
would
the
you go
next
public now? If you
that's a different story.
You would you take a company public now? Pink sheets?
If all the matrix were right, 100%. Absolutely. Would I go public if I didn't need to or didn't want to? No. If I had the personal asset to keep on building what I'm building, no.
Or the loans?
I mean, like Constellation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They've put so much money into there's a lot of investments that have went into companies, and I think the stock is overpriced. Well, that's just my opinion.
Sure.
I could be 100% wrong, but
time will tell.
Yeah.
Let's come back a year from now and we'll take a look and
mark this down.
And we'll see.
Pull up the stock. Just take a picture of all marijuana stocks right now, and a year from now, let's see.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So, have you invested in marijuana stocks?
I have.
Okay.
I do.
I hope it's a windfall.
So far, thank goodness, I'm up about 22%.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I think there's some, opportunities there to, pick up companies that are low priced and are, on their way up. Yeah. And I think it's going to do nothing but expand and or get rolled up. So I'm very bullish on the industry.
Good
and, I'm excited about it.
It just scares me.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, what about you?
I'm not scared. I think that there are so many products
Do you own
out
stock?
there. No, I used to be a pattern day trader. I was for I think at least 3 years I was an SEC pattern day trader, and I traded almost exclusively small drug company stocks. And if I were still doing that, I'd be all over. I would be making so many trades on these marijuana stocks.
What, on the volatility?
I trade the volatility.
Yeah, that's what I would do because it's there.
Yeah. They're gonna keep going up though.
I think, but how long will it take? It doesn't matter.
I was trading based on sometimes like the tick chart, not just the minute chart. Like,
the tick chart. What's that?
Every trade is a tick on the chart.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow. Like I was
got to be on top of that.
Yeah, I was a machine for a while. I was very into it, but it was bad for my health, and because there was a period of time before the algorithms took over.
Yeah.
And while they were coming online, like during that period of time, if you understood enough about just technical trading, you could just look at any stock chart and make a pretty decent trade most of the time, on average. Like I had a lot of fun. I loved it.
I bet it could be all consuming though.
Yeah,
it's like you don't want to leave because that tick.
Right. Yeah, because like
10 hours later,
the number of times that I was up in the middle of the night trading this just I won't say there was a company that was definitely a scam, and it was very obvious that they were a scam. And but they, their market cap was like pretty big, and I would wake up in time to watch the trades that were occurring in the Italian market, like to see if this one company was gonna drop or go up. It became all consuming. I had to quit for my health.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because it can be so exciting and fun as well. Yeah.
Big adrenaline rush.
Yeah. I just like patterns. It really clicked with me. But I would be trading the hell out of. I don't know that I'd buy and hold anything in particular. But
that's what I'm talking about, mine.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely swing trade a bunch of these cannabis related companies.
So what's the limits as far as money that you can access for the right investment company?
Really no limits. I mean, it used to be $5 or $10 million was a lot, but I've got, sources now that'll go up to 50 million or so. Again, if you have the numbers to justify it, people want to put money into the industry. There's a lot of money on the sidelines looking for good deals and good teams and people that will repay what they borrow. That's really the key thing. To be prepared with your financials, be prepared with your information, provide it in a timely fashion to whoever you're working with, and you can get what you need.
I've got one for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Somewhere around 12 to 15 million.
Okay.
Everything's ready.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Great. I got my checkbook right here.
Nice. Yeah, cut us
Get them
one.
funded.
Oh, by the way, how much do we charge for this episode?
$1 million.
$1 million.
Can I make payments?
Of course. Yeah, 100,000 a month. Yeah. But we're not going to charge you interest.
But no interest.
It's interest free.
Okay. All right. I like that.
Well, we're coming up on an hour here. So
are we really?
Yeah.
Wow. Time
Great
flies
show.
when
It sure
you're having
does.
I told you this is
Yeah.
going to be a great show.
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot of specific
I said it was going to be the
questions
worst show we ever did.
Oh, come on.
I'm teasing.
As long as we've known each other, because we've known each other from the old
my
BioTrack
God.
days. I was almost
Yeah,
going to
6 years.
right
at
when you
least.
were raising money for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we first met.
Yeah.
If people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Email is S as in Scott Jordan, Jordan, at vertkos.com, which is short for vertical companies. So it's V as in Veedverks, ERTCOS.com. That goes nice together, Veedverks and Vertkos.
It sure does.
I kinda like
I think
that.
that's a match.
Yeah.
Good morning from Alaska. Hey, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Good
from
morning
Alaska.
to you. Nice. Well, I tell you what, it's been a great show.
Yeah.
We better jump off because this is going to go onto
That's right.
Dash Radio.
Scott Jordan,
Hey,
Scott,
thank you very much.
Really
Vertical
appreciate it,
Companies.
buddy.
Thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you.
on. Thanks everybody for joining. We'll
right.
see you next week.
Take care.
All right. Very good.
Same time, same day, next week.
All right.
Nice.